Welcome to part 4 doing the UVs. So I'm gonna show how you can do UVs for this quite easily in Zbrush, but I'll probably also go into 3D Max. But for those that want to kind of stick in Zbrush as much as possible, I'm going to show the UV process in here as well. But before that, if you notice here this strange bit of geometry here, this line should continue down so we can maintain that curvature. So I'm just going to fix that up. I'd much rather fix that up because it looks terrible. So what we're going to do here is just going to stitch some of these up. Just move the rearrange some of this topology. So I'm just going to go to stitch, and we'll just stitch some of this up and stitch that in there. Hang on a sec. Stitch that there. Hang on a sec. I'll stitch that first. Stitch that in there. And stitch that in there. And then we can, let me see, stitch this in here. Get rid of that edge. And then split. You know, the split edge. And that'll just split that down the middle, and then we can delete this edge, and that'll give us our line here that we want, and then we can move that out. We can just go to slide, and we can just slide that out there to give us back that curvature. Even slide it in a touch, and you can kind of tell. Hang on, I'll just bring it back in. You can kind of tell by the parallel, how to parallel these two edges are. So that'll sort of that'll fix that up for us. I'm just going to uncrease all this. Uncrease all. Sometimes I think it looks like a double edge when you're doing something like this, but it isn't. It's just the creasing. You know, so you could also come in and delete some of these edges. I'll leave that one in, maybe delete that one. Then you could just start stitching some of these up, just to tidy up your topology, or you know, take away faces that you don't need. Optimize the topology. I think I'd rather leave that edge in there, just so that's not a strange triangle shaped quad. So yeah, I just wanted to do that for. So you can keep going here and optimizing your topology even more. Like you can get rid of some of these edges here. And just, you know, leave that up to you yourself to optimize it more. I'm going to just leave it at that for the moment. You know, you could weld all these in here, but I'm just going to leave it at that for the moment. I just wanted to fix that bit up, and we can start on the UVs. So you can get going really quickly on UVs here with the new poly group sort of stuff in 4 or 7. That I've showed in other videos. One video was the topic was just about that. I kind of went in depth on it. So what we can do here is we can say set the tolerance here and group by normals, and it automatically, you know, one click gives us a great starting point. Because as I said before, UVing for normal map baking, anywhere where you have a change of angle. So see the way you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different surfaces that are essentially broken up by an angle. So you would have different smoothing groups. That would be number 1, that would be number 2, that would be 3, that would be 4, and that would be 5. So different smoothing groups, if they're touching together on their edge borders, they're going to be shaded, smooth shaded. So it's fine for here, you know, this will all be the same smoothing group, because we want to keep that curve. That'll actually the shading will smooth out this facet to make it look to make it look like it's smooth rather than faceted. But then we would have it broken here and here where the angle changes, because basically anywhere there's a flat surface you're going to want to have a break. So these are obvious breaks here, break there, continuous break, continuous break here, break here, break here. So that's why this gets, it's like doing a flattened mapping in your 3D package, you know, basically. So the likes of this then, so we get a good start there. So, you know, that's going to be a shell, that's going to be a shell. These will all be UV shells based on the polygroups. So as a quick example, if I was to go to UV master and say turn off symmetry and polygroups and unwrap, and then I'll just flatten it, you know, these are all going to be continuous. These are the big sections here around the oil tank. Here's the top part, and this was the part that was we extruded out. You get all these weird bits here. These the two sides of the electrical box. So you know it's not ideal, but it's a sort of it's a starting point, and then you want to come in with your tools here, your polygroup tools. So you know we could go in here with Zmodeler and polygroup, polyloop, and you know we could make that one smoothing group all around here. That'll be a smoothing group. Then there's a break here again. What else have we got here? You just have to kind of go around the model and break it up. So mostly it's going to be mostly pretty good here. You might want to break these up, so we would polyloop that, and that breaks that away from these. We could probably yeah, we want to leave those as separate smoothing groups. So we unwrap again, flatten, and now you can see here's those strips. There's the bottom strip, and yeah, it's mostly unwrapped well, except for these big long strips. So you know you kind of just have to keep just go back and forwards, and these long strips are these bits, but they're actually, so you've a purple one there. We could delete that there if we wanted to, or else in the game the physics, it might be blown, knocked over on its side, and you'd see underneath it, so you might want to leave that there. So let me see, we have an orange strip there, a green one, and a purple one. So there's the orange, the green, and the purple, and the rest of them are all broken up pretty good. Except I don't see the bottom part. Let's see, I don't know what these bits are. Yeah, so you'd have to just go in and sort of eyeball it there and see what's what. But it's broken up pretty good there. And what we could do is, you know, this could be your starting point, and then you could go into your 3D application and rearrange those shells, and you already have a great unwrap, because Zbrush has a brilliant relaxing and unflattening or pelting algorithm. It does a really good job, even though most of these are flat. So what we'll do is, that's pretty much a good start for your Zbrush unwrap. But realistically, if you're doing this kind of work, you're going to have a 3D application anyway. There's no way around it, you know. If you want to be going through a game pipeline, it's essential to have a 3D application. But you know, you could get Blender for free. It's very, very powerful and pretty much has all the features of the main $3,000 and $4,000 packages like Max and Maya. But it's up to you really. But I would definitely recommend it if you're doing anything like this. Just get in there and learn, or get yourself a 3D application. So that's a good start, as I say, and I'm gonna send this over to Max, and we can get a look at the UVs over there. I'll just gozy it over. Right, so we're gonna take our low poly here, and I'm just gonna drop that shift and arrow, drop that down to the bottom of the stack, and grab our topo pipe, drop that down as well. So that's going to be our low poly. And now I'm going to decimate this, or sculpt. So what we'll do first is I'm going to merge that down. So it's one object, and export it. So instead of using GoZ with the weird scale issues and all the rest of it, doing 200 times, it's just quick here to export it. So I'll just call this oil tank retopo obj, save that, and back down to select this and select it again, and then we'll hide these, hide the two topos, and we'll unhide these on solo. So what I want to do here is these are all the high polys obviously, so I'm going to decimate these two, and we're going to leave the nuts and these rivets and this kind of wiry cage bit here, we're going to leave them. So we'll decimate these two first and then merge everything together. So our oil tank is selected, and up to decimation master, just pre-process current. You see the progress bar here, it's going through. So I'll just do this one and then I'll pause it and I'll do the other one, so you're not waiting around. I just thought I'd just show the simple sort of process quickly while we're out of here before exporting them. Right, so that's just done now. And this 20% is always a great starting point. That's the default. So once it's pre-processed, you can just hit decimate current and just keep an eye up here on the poly count. So that's done now, and it's down to 400,000, which will be, or it's nearly 500,000. It'll be 1 million over in Max, which is fine, and Painter can handle that fine as well. So if you want, you know, we could even go down a bit more. I'll try. I might go down to even, we'll say 15 or something. And try it again, and that'll be 600,000. Yeah, we'll go with that. And we'll do the same now for the pipe. So I'll pause it and I'll do the pipe. Right, so that's the pipe done as well. That's that'll be 600 odd thousand over Max. So next thing to do is to just going to merge them down. So I'll just say okay, skip, and merge the screws down, and that's it there now. So that's our high poly. Sorry, what's this? Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah, we merged them down as well. So that's everything merged down, and we can export back up here. Export oil tank retopo and oil tank we'll just call it high res, and obj save. And now I'm going to import these into Max, and I'll be back then when I get into Max. Right, so here we are, Max, and the first thing I'm going to do is, you'll notice that the pivot point is all over the place here from Zbrush, so I'm just going to go into a front view, just change that to shaded, and you can see here's 0, 0, 0 on the world. So even though this was sitting on the floor on Zbrush, for whatever reason it's down here, so I just want to select both of those objects, effect pivot only, and I'm just going to move the pivot down. I can zoom right in here and just move the pivot right down. You can see here also the bottom of this, I probably should have fixed that up, but it's not going to make too much of a difference, so I'll just move it down, and yeah, that's pretty good there. And just from the top view it's centered up, so that's both of the pivots in place. And now we can just select the two of them, go to a front view again, and here's our main grid line, and I'll just right click here, and on Z just right click here to zero it out. You can't do it on multiple objects down here, so you can just do it in the transform type in. So now we have it in the center of the world, and now we just need to sort out the scale. So to do that, we can just create a box, or even just create a biped. So if we drag a biped up here and take a look on the right, say 100 and yeah, thereabouts 180 odd centimeters, and you can see our tank is huge. So I'll grab the two of these and just group them, and we will scale. Just scale the group. But first we want to just zero out the pivot there of the group, so I can zero it out in I'll go back to the transform type in, zero it out in Z again, and then we can scale. Sorry, I'll just disable that. We can scale now down to, we're scaling the group. So I'll just grab this biped, move them over there. So you know that this control box here, it could be at waist height, or it could be bigger than a bloke. So it depends on the scale. If we take a look at the reference here, you know, there's the bloke, ladder's going up, so it's 2 stories tall. So you know, we could leave it that height, depending on your game or whatever. You could leave it that height, or we could just where's that group? I'll just scale the group. Sorry, thought I had the group selected. Scale it down. So I'll probably leave it 2 stories. So maybe that height there, 2.5 stories or whatever. And just get rid of the biped, and select our group again. And I'm just gonna go back to move and just zero that out in X and Y, so it's centered up in the world again. And the grid is behaving crazy, so probably just go up here and sorry, this screen keeps going off there for whatever reason. Home grid space, and we'll just make that 100 centimeters. And all viewports. Just so it's not as horrible to look at. Turn off snaps. So if you're building your kind of modular sort of scenery in here, I'd set up the grid units properly, like make them, I don't know what they're at the moment, I'd make it meters, because Unity is meters. So customize grid setup, unit setup, Sorry, where the hell am I going here? And we could set this to meters and system units. That doesn't really matter too much. That's just dependent on when you're working, like if you keep it in a certain scale. So we could set this to meters as well because it's a large object. And what I want to do next is I'll just explode that group and get rid of it. And now I'm gonna grab our high poly and just hide it. And you can see now that smoothing groups are crazy from Zbrush. So if I was to select all and come down here and clear the groups, or just clear all, and get our kind of faceted look back, and then when we UV it, we can take our smoothing groups from the UV using text tools. It seems to have disappeared. Right, not to worry, I'm just going to grab that back. Right, so I just got text tools going again there. So if we apply an unwrap and Zbrush didn't export the UVs for whatever reason. Right, Zbrush actually crashed on me again, so I lost the UVs that we did in Zbrush. Well, even though it took 2 seconds, but I was going to change them around in Max here anyway. If you noticed, in Zbrush it unwraps. It doesn't really do any. It does all sort of pelt mapping. It doesn't do any planar mapping. So, for instance, those big long, the purple, I think, orange and green or whatever, the strips, those big long strips. So Zbrush just unwrapped this as a strip and just broke it wherever it chose. Broke a seam there. So we would have been redoing that again anyway. As planar maps, but what we could do here, it's no big deal and quite easy to do, is just jump across the Zbrush and oil tank topo solo, and there's just change the scale and max. So what we could do is just do what we did earlier on. Change this to I think it was 20. Group by normals, and that's too high for here. So, or too low. Sorry. So maybe do 30. And 30 does it nicely. And then the other thing we did then was we just Zmodeler, polygroup, polyloop, and we just I think they're the same. We just change the color in that, and we could let that be part of that. So maybe just press Alt to change it, and then could just polygroup a flat island, and then that, this could be part of this or this. So maybe actually we'll make it part of this. So I'll go to group polyloop again, and just change that. Tap Alt and change them. And I think that's all we needed to do. Now it's going to break all these up, but what we could easily do there is just polyloop all these together, So just press Alt and poly loop them. I think that was it. Yep. And doesn't seem to have. I'll just do these really quickly. And them as well. And the bottom one is different, and then we can get rid of that geometry underneath, or leave it there if we want. And UV master again. So you can see how quickly this is, even though I lost all that. It's only have to take in a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, get it going again. So polygroups, unwrap, done, flatten. And the other thing we wanted to do was, you know, this is a bit crazy here, so what we did then as well was we just poly loop them, polygroup, poly loop, and we don't like that. I could probably just mask these off, and I can do a flat island now in a second. So I can just, it's no big deal. I can just polygroup, flat island, and change that, and you can see that weird bit there where smoothing groups were weird. It's not part of that flat island. So that's that done, and unwrap, finished, flatten, and that sorts them, those weird bits out. And that's the pipe there. Yeah, so that's pretty good there now. So what we can do is, because I've already come from max with GoZ, now GoZ and back won't be a problem, because it'll keep the same scale and position and everything. So I hope. Yeah, so if I unhide all, what the hell? Right, I don't know what happened there. It's strange. Alright, then what I'll do is I'll just GoZ this across. This is the joys of doing this stuff in real time. But sure, it's no harm to see you know, mistakes, errors, workarounds. It's actually a good idea to leave them in. So I'll just press F, and I just want to check that this is the same. So for whatever crazy reason, so I don't know what's happening. It's just completely messed up the scale there. So I've no idea why that's happening. So what I might do, let me see. That's tiny. Yeah, I think actually. Oh, hang on a sec. Let me try. 500. Drives me mad if you don't press return and it keeps resetting the slider back to what you don't want it to be. I'm just going to try that 500 because I think I exported the I had that set to 500 earlier on, so maybe that's what the problem was. And we'll go see that now. Yeah, that was the problem. I had the scale set to 500 earlier on, so that sorts that out. Now I'll just select the oil tank topo and isolate that, and there's the UVs that Zbrush gave us. So of text tools reinstall here. So the UVs are pretty good in the sense that there's very little stretching or skewing or anything. As you can see there, like the numbers are, all these circles are a good indicator. There's a little bit of strangeness going on here, but we're going to sort all that out now. I'm just going to clear those smoothing groups again. Clear all. Clear all. And get rid of that weird horrible material. And we'll add an unwrap. We'll have a look here. We have Zbrush's UVs. So that's that part. Seam right down the front. Not going to matter too much because I'm going to be painting in Painter. But I'd rather have it to the back. So this is what I mean, like you have much more flexibility here when you're UVing in your 3D package. So this video, I think I might cut this off here, and we're ready to start UVing now. So that was just the kind of the messing about to get prepared. So we're ready to UV, so I'll do that in a separate video because this will probably go on. The UV one's going to be quite long probably, so I'll stop this here and I'll see you in the next one, and we definitely will start UVing in the next one, or finishing UVing even in the next one. Alright then, cheers, thanks, good luck.